So today we are going to cover all our tomatoes like we did last year. So I'm gonna build up a small greenhouse on top of it, and we're gonna keep it covered until the end of May, maybe half June. Let's see how the weather is gonna be. Let's do it. Hello guys, and welcome back to the free garden. Today I'm building a small greenhouse for our tomatoes. Nothing store-bought, just scrap wood from old pallets and a plastic cover we've used for the last couple of seasons. It's not pretty, but it works. And when you are trying to grow your own food, especially in a place where the weather's unpredictable, you do what you can with what you got. These are our tomatoes, a bit early in the season, so they need a bit of protection. A little help from us while they find their own strength. You don't need any fancy material to build your garden. No big budget, just time, hands, and the will to make things work. I always keep an eye out for pallets. These came from a local warehouse, and they were throwing them out. With a bit of love, they become almost anything you want. I've been building so many things with them, from trucks to beds for the garden, to planters, and many more things. There's something really satisfying about pulling apart old wood. It takes passion, you can't rush it, some pieces split, some surprise you with how solid they still are, like they are ready for their second life. And honestly, that's how I feel about a lot of things lately. I guess part of this is practice for the life we want to build in Sardinia. A small farm, simple living, growing most of what we eat, less noise and more meaning. Every screw, every cut, it's like a reminder that we are allowed to build something different. A life that's not just about earning and consuming, but about creating, caring and slowing down. Gardening teaches you patience. It teaches you to trust. You bury something small and fragile in the ground and then wait. You water, you hope, and eventually, almost always, it grows. Alright, the frame is almost done. It's not perfect, but it's solid. That's what counts. Next up is the cover. This old plastic sheeting we saved from last season. Still good enough to keep the warmth in and the chill out. We try to waste as little as possible, not just because it's better for the planet, but because it keeps us grounded. Reusing, fixing, patching, it reminds us that new doesn't always mean better. It reminds us also that we are not perfect, same as nature, and that we can always do better, for everything and for everyone. Tomatoes are a funny thing. They look delicate, but they are tough. They'll thrive if you give them a bit of shelter and a lot of love. And maybe that's true for people too. I grew up in a country where the food was almost always grown in the house. And people, they take so much care about nature. Back in Sardinia, food is almost sacred. You don't waste it, you respect it. Because you knew how much work went into every bite. We want to get back to that, not just for nostalgia, but for the future. Our dream is to return to Sardinia, find a small piece of land, and live close to it, not just survive, live. I wasn't always sure I wanted to go back to Sardinia. When I left, I didn't feel good there. I felt stuck, like the world was somewhere else, and I was missing out. I had this rebellious energy, this need to break away from tradition, from the small town mindset, from people telling me how life should be lived. I wanted noise, movement, challenge. I wanted to find my own way. So I left. And for a long time, I didn't look back. But the funny thing is, after all that running, all the change, you start to see the value in what you walked away from. You miss your family, you miss the slow life, and you miss everything you come from. Now I see Sardinia differently, not as something to escape, but something to return with new eyes. I don't want to go back there and repeat old patterns. I want to build something better there, something of my own. A life that still pushes back against what doesn't feel right, but also respect the land, the roots, and the pace. I used to think rebellion meant leaving. Now I think it might mean staying and doing things differently. This garden, it's not just a project. It's a training ground. Every nail, every mistake, every harvest is teaching me how to live slower, more intentionally. It's helping me to grow into the kind of person who can return home and build a new life there without losing what made me want to live in the first place. To plant my tomatoes, I always start with a little base, some crushed eggshells for calcium, and a handful of chicken pellets. Nothing fancy, just simple, slow release nutrients to give the roots something to work with. Once they are in the ground, support is everything. Tomatoes, they can become really heavy, and if you don't give them the structure, they'll collapse under their own weight. I use whatever I got, bamboo canes, bits of scrap wood, doesn't have to be pretty. It just needs to hold them upright, keep the air moving, and lift the fruit off the soil. It's a small job, but if you skip it, the whole thing will fall apart. I always plant basil alongside the tomatoes. They are good companions. Basil helps keep certain pests away, and some people say it even improves the flavor of the tomatoes. I don't know if that's true, but either way, they grow up well together. Plus, when you are checking your tomatoes, you can smell the basil and it's something amazing. I keep using canes to sustain my tomatoes. Some people use vertical strings, tie them to a strong frame above, and train the tomatoes up as they grow. It works really well if you've got a sturdy top structure. For now, I will keep my way, but maybe I will give it a shot during the season. Let's see what's gonna happen. Sometimes I recycle the stem from the sunflowers, as it's really strong and it does the same job as the canes. The plastic cover I'm using is old. It's been through a couple of seasons already. Bit worn in places, patched here and there, but it does the same job. No need to buy a new one if the old one still holds up. I cut it to sides and staple it down tight, making sure there's enough tension to keep it from flapping in the wind. Doesn't have to be perfect, just needs to hold the warmth and keep the cold out of the young plants. Recycling material like this isn't just a budget thing, it's a responsibility. Especially when you're working with the land, you start to realize that nothing really goes away. It either becomes waste or it becomes part of something useful. Plastic is everywhere. It's cheap, convenient, and nearly impossible to avoid. But the truth is, we've gone too far with it. It's wrapped around everything we buy. It's in the soil, in the water, even in the food we eat. Most of it gets used once and thrown away without a second thought. Out of sight, out of mind, as they say. But it doesn't go away. It just breaks down into smaller and smaller pieces and stay. So when I reuse something like this cover, it's not just about saving money. It's about pushing back, just a little, against a system that treats everything as disposable. Don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect either. I still end up using plastic sometimes. But I try to make it count, make it last, use it with intention instead of convenience. Because if we want to grow food that's clean, healthy and honest, we need to make sure that we save the planet and we keep this planet as clean as possible, not just for us, but then for the next generation too. As this video is almost finished, I want to say something. My English isn't perfect, I know that. But I hope that doesn't matter too much. I'm not trying to be an expert. I'm just sharing what I do, how I live, and where I hope to go. If you are still watching, thanks for sticking with me. I really appreciate it. So this is it. It's done and covered. Okay.
All our tomatoes are inside. The basil. It's not looking pretty, but still it's gonna do the job. And that's the important thing. So guys, for today is everything. I hope you enjoyed the video. In the garden now you see everything is growing slowly, especially now the spring is here, and so the summer is gonna come as well. And in 10 days we're gonna be on holiday, so I'm gonna bring you in another tour, because I'm gonna start to set up the garden for my parents as well, as I want to grow some vegetables in Sardinia too. And yeah, if you want to subscribe, it's gonna make us really happy, and also it will help me to make more videos and encourage me to make more videos and keep going with this passion I have. And I hope you have a nice day, and I see you next time. Ciao.